Lots of stuff going on in the news, certainly from a federal level. Lots of stuff happening in the news from the provincial level. These are politics, of course. Our prime minister's now the results are of him spending all sorts of money. One was to go to the Queen's funeral. It's coming out, and as we were getting set up, one of the articles was he spent $160,000 on a trip down for vacation. Right, just lots of spending public dollars, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Provincially, we're getting ready for. What are we doing? Provincially, we're getting ready for our own election here in 60 days or ish. So lots of mudslinging going on, lots of American-style politics. It's getting very exciting. I'm not going to lie. It is for me, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're the one with the poli-sci degree, so I mean,
well,
it is getting exciting for you, but.
And of course, it's Flames Day. I'm always wearing my jersey when we're doing this, but I am going to wear this when we do this. But it just happens to be Flames Day as well. Some people wear their jersey as a part of their regular attire. I do not do that. I just wear it on Flames days and podcast days, and then I take it off. Flames are coming up here, big season, right? I've kind of went through when there was about 20 games left and figured how many we had to win of each one of those to make it in, and it's kind of been getting smaller and smaller and smaller as the games go on. I think it was at 9 games the other day, and we had to win 7 of those 9 games, 6 of those 9 games.
Yeah,
which is difficult. Yeah. Well, if you can win 75% of your games, you deserve to win the Stanley Cup. Yeah, you deserve to win the Stanley Cup, right? As a whole. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Let's hit the refresh and see what we got. All right. Did you hear about this? Africa splitting in 2 and forming a new ocean.
I haven't even heard about that one. Nope.
Yeah. So I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like this is going to happen overnight. This is like 100 plus million years from now. But up by, I think it's through Egypt, right? Along the Nile. The Nile is really, really long, by the way. Like as long as Canada is east to west, the Nile is. Right? It's thousands of kilometers long. So it's the continents there are splitting apart, and that's where this new ocean's supposed to be. I watched some interesting thing the other day. It was really good. It's interesting.
I didn't hear about that one, but okay.
Shit. I didn't bring my phone. That's no good. Well, this happens to be the first article, so let's just talk about it right away. That's it. It's just a daily digest, something interesting. Click through this.
The wrong tab.
Oops.
Pull the tab, yeah.
There we go. Sorry about that.
There we go.
Geologists have confirmed that our world will be getting a brand new ocean, according to new research published in a peer-reviewed journal, Geophysical Research Letters. When you publish papers, it has to be peer-reviewed, and then it gets sent out to the public. You just can't write whatever you want and spew whatever you want about science, and so other people are agreeing with this. Is what's happening there. Is that right? Who cares? Do I have that right?
Yeah. So, is splitting along the Nile? Is that what you were?
I think that's where I read that, but it's up through. Well, the Nile would be through Egypt, right? And then you have Ethiopia on the right, on the Horn there. It's through that Horn piece. And I thought it was through the Nile. So that part of northeast Africa will split and go into India, more or less.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully, I think there's 18 in this series, so hopefully it'll show up here. Researchers used seismic to show that the East African rift was being influenced by the same tectonic processes as those occurring on the ocean floor. The crack has been pinpointed as being at the border of 3 tectonic plates, African Namibian, African Somali, and Arabian, that have already been distancing themselves for some time. Sometime, I want to know what sometime means. This type of phenomena created other bodies of water. Oh, maybe there it is, right? Here's the map. and this is Egypt up here. I thought it was coming around this thing. Can't quite see it, but I thought it was coming around here. Notably, these kind of tectonic shifts are also observed in the creations of the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden between East Africa and Western Asia. The east, yeah, go ahead.
The planet's been, continental drift had been going on for billions of years. I mean, why should it suddenly have stopped?
Exactly.
It's not like, okay, this is where the planet is supposed to be, North America here and Asia over here, so stop. It keeps on moving. Everything's
Absolutely
falling apart. So, I mean, moving in different directions. I think, and I've read in the past, I don't know the time frame, but of course we're talking millions, tens, hundreds of millions of years. They're all these continents are going to meet on the other side of the planet and create another supercontinent again.
Pangea.
Sorry?
Well, when all the continents were at one piece, it was called Pangea.
Oh yeah,
And
referred to as a
split.
supercontinent. Yeah.
And now they're going to the other side, just as Who Cares is saying, and now they'll meet on the other side, and maybe they'll call it post-Pangea.
Yeah.
Too funny. So on that same thought process, this is I apply. Like I think you're absolutely right. By the way, right? It's one continent and it's split. It didn't just automatically stop one day.
Mhm.
The planet didn't have the consciousness to say, yeah, it's. I think that's a good spot for North and South America and Asia and all those other things. The continents are going to stop drifting. That doesn't happen.
Right.
It's through this cycle. It's a cyclical process. It continues evolving and growing and creating and moving around. Through science, we came to that process. We came to that conclusion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the climate is the same sort of thing. We can see through evidence through ice cores and whatnot in Antarctica that there was lots of snow in Antarctica this year and less this year, and you multiply that by millions of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can see that the planet was really warm for this millennia and not for this millennia, and back and forth.
Right.
To suggest that climate change, like man is doing it in the last 150 years since we started recording it, is absolutely ludicrous. Because there was lots of water here. And then there wasn't, because the planet got colder and it froze all the water. So that's where the water went. Yeah, it just doesn't just stop. I don't understand. If you don't understand what a rift valley is, that's okay. It's actually quite simple, and National Geographic, I like National Geographic, has provided a great overview. A rift valley is a lowland region that forms where Earth's tectonic plates move apart or rift. What? Who would have thought that?
Mm-hmm.
Scientists long thought Africa would split in two. Scientists have long believed that East Africa rift was the point at which the continent of Africa would someday split, according to Quartz. It wasn't until 2005, however, that scientists finally got the proof they needed to back up their theories when an enormous crack opened up in the East African rift. So that happens because of an earthquake, right? It just there's a rift that doesn't happen. The chasm of 2005, a giant chasm that emerged and quickly developed within days in the Afar Desert in Ethiopia, heralded the coming to pass of this long-standing theory held by geologists that Africa would split. 2018, a new satellite imaging tool showed researchers to delve even deeper into the rift, mystery of the rift, giving scientists a better understanding of what's going on. With GPS measurements, you can measure rates of movement down to a few millimeters per year, right? So I believe that the moon is actually pulling away from the Earth at about 1 or 2 centimeters a year. It's crazy how they do that, but they do this using the same sort of process.
Yeah. Can't remember. Is it's pulling away or? Can't remember. Okay.
Well, you got a 50-50 shot, I bet.
Yep.
As we get more and more measurements from GPS, we can get a much greater sense of what's going on. Okay, so I was a little bit off. So there's the Nile River, right? So it's a little bit east of that. And so here at the bottom part, maybe it's at the mouth of the Nile River. This would make sense right there, right? right? So Lake Victoria is the largest lake on the planet. Well, lake on the planet, I guess.
You're
At the time.
looking at a map that nobody can see.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah, I forget that sometimes.
Well, it's in front of you, and you're following the map, but just nobody else can see this map, right? You know, just so you know.
So part of this map is showing where the plate boundaries are, and my original assessment when I read the story was that it's splitting along the Nile River, right? But it's only splitting at the mouth portion of the Nile River. So I was kind of right where I thought it was. At the time, McDonald and other scientists believed that each of the various plates in Afar would be moving away from each other at different speeds, and that stands to reason. Right? Plates would move at different speeds.
Mm-hmm.
The combined separation of each of the plates formed what science called a mid-ocean ridge system. This is where the ocean will form. Yeah, of course. Future flooding, the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea will flood over in the Afar region and into East Africa Rift Valley, becoming a new ocean. And that part of East Africa will become its own separate small continent. We can see that ocean crust is starting to form because it's distinctly different from continental crust in its composition and density. Africa's new ocean won't take shape for millions of years. And I seem to recall reading it would be like 100 million years or something like that. So it'd be set for when the dinosaurs come back and take over, right? Because we're waiting for the asteroid to wipe us out. Then reptiles can rise and take over.
Okay.
Who cares is laughing because he and I actually talked about this probably a couple years ago at this point. He said without that meteor, the Yucatan Peninsula meteor, there's no reason for mammals to take over the planet.
Nope, not at all.
Not at all. It's causation correlation. And I'm like, that's touche, sir. I never really thought about that. That we could very well have can you imagine if T-Rexes are at the top? They would be able to scratch their butt. Still nothing here. Jesus, guy.
Yeah.
Eastern arm of the Rift Valley is pretty active, known by many tremors, which is like micro earthquakes around it. It'll take a long time, probably millions of years for this to happen. Well, thank you very much for that. What do you think about that? Who cares?
Well, while I hadn't specifically heard about it, I was certainly aware of continental drift, and like I say, they are going to meet on the other side of the planet as they're all moving away from each other, and being on a sphere, they're going to collide on the other side.
What? Did you just draw a line in the sand against flat earthers?
Oh dear, that's a problem. Are we going to get canceled?
We might get canceled because you're going to get canceled. I'm not because I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. This is in part one of the misunderstandings, I think, is when we talk about dinosaurs here in Alberta. You have to understand that this was 65 million years ago and then some. At that time, what we call Alberta was actually somewhere in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So people are like, well, how can dinosaurs live in Alberta and trying to think of it as Alberta today, right? So 65 million years ago, the countries and the continents weren't where they are now. What are you looking at? How Earth looked. You're in the wrong tab again. You keep opening.
I don't want. Oh yeah. Okay.
Need you to go back to the other tab. Pull the dinosaur tab apart. There you go. So yeah, the Ring of Fire. You've got all the seismic activity out in Asia area. The Ring of Fire, and it's all due to continental drift and one plate pushing under another and so forth. So I mean, the fact that Africa is separating just means that there's a plate under there somewhere that is moving in a different direction and is going to take a certain part of Africa with it. And when that happens, I wouldn't have thought it would be a new ocean. I thought
Well, something has to fill the void, right?
why wouldn't it just be the Indian Ocean, since that's what's there anyways? So I don't know, but apparently decided it's going to form a new ocean.
Well, I guess looking at this picture here, I just Googled how the Earth looked 65 million years ago, right? So we can see that, let's say, like Greenland area is still connected to Eurasia, right? South America is its own little piece. Antarctica and Australia are connected. We all know that India is its own subcontinent and buttress and the Himalayas continue to grow. But specifically, I'm looking at the continent of Africa. So I guess my question is, this horn, which is Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti area, which is where this new rift is occurring, why 65 million years ago, why wouldn't, if it's on its own plate, why is it not splitting apart at the same time everything else is? We more or less think there's like 7 continental plates, right? This is one for each of the
Quite true either.
You think there's more than 7 continental plates?
I'm pretty sure there's more. I mean, I don't know what the continental plate under Africa is, and it may be something that's getting pulled along with one of the plates to do with Europe or something, you know. But
yeah, more plates make sense because that's, well, continental plates. I don't know yet. I haven't really formed and put this through yet, but you can see this horn of Africa is still connected to what we're calling the continent of Africa, how it looked 65 million years ago. There's no hole here. There's no rift. Right? You can see India moved this much distance. Right? It shifts to the right here and comes into Eurasia. But this thing just all of a sudden now starts to split apart.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
that's
I'm not versed enough in this kind of thing to just have a generalization that, you know, and it's things like 2 million years ago we entered an ice age, right? And one of the theories of that is that basically the plate in South Africa essentially ran into Central, or creating Central, ran into North America, and you have all of Central America, specifically the joining point, according to what I remember and what I read, is Panama. And then, you know, so you got 2 plates there, one that's kind of, you got North America and somehow South America is coming into it, crashes into it, creates the islands here that we call Central America. But essentially what it does is it shuts off the flow of ocean water from the Pacific
east to the west
to the Atlantic. Pacific into the Atlantic? I can't remember which way it is, but no, it was Atlantic into the Pacific, because the water was coming in before and now it has to diverge, and it changed the weather patterns, you know. So you've got South America in some way attached to a plate, part of a plate that's moving on its own, you know. So I understand, you know, the idea of continental drift, and I read a little bit, I catch some stuff about it, but explicitly and how many there are and which one's going which way, and, you know, is beyond me. I can understand where you're coming from, that how come suddenly one little piece of Africa is starting to suddenly pull away or something, you know. So but that's beyond my scope. It'd be an interesting thing to delve into.
Yeah, for sure. I'm I'm
But
absolutely interested about this. I'm going to take a look at this after this
yeah,
podcast for sure.
but it's certainly well beyond any scope that we're discussing right now,
Of
too.
course, yeah. Our expertise is not anywhere close to this, right? But here's another image that's just underneath it. I mean, who cares can see this? But when I googled how did the Earth look 65 million years ago, I did click on the image to see how it moved. The image I was just referencing is showing from 65 million years ago. But here's another one, which I think is the same group that put this map out, of 220 million years ago. So 160 million years between what Pangea more or less is looking like and the one I was just describing, right? You can see it's almost all connected there, but you can see here's what South Africa looks like. South America. Here's what Africa looks like. This is a subcontinent of India. It's coming around here. So it travels 106, in 160 million years, it travels this far. And another 65 million years to go from here up into, right? It's very interesting. Interesting for sure.
There are websites that will actually do the time delay for you, like every million years, and you can watch them move in their different directions and stuff and all, so it is kind of intriguing, but the bottom line is Africa splitting.
That's what the scientists are saying.
So there we go.
All right. Next article. Boy Scouts 2.4 billion bankruptcy plan upheld by the judge. Oh my. That's a yard sale. Here you go, young sir. This one's on you.
Bankman-Fried, charged with paying 40 million bribe to China. This guy's in a lot of hot water, I think. He's the crypto guy that way overextended himself using other people's money from his crypto bank, and then everything collapsed on him when they started pulling money out. This isn't the banking issue. The banking issue happened after this. These are two different things.
Well, after. That's correct.
These are two different things. He's a cryptocurrency exchange that crashed. And I found it, I tried reading about it, but I found it very confusing. But it would seem that people would invest in his cryptocurrency exchange and put money in and invest in it. And it's hard because I think about the Toronto exchange market, right? The Toronto exchange. But I don't really put money into the Toronto exchange, right? So I don't know how they're putting money into his exchange. So I'm a little confused how that all worked. But what I basically understand is that he's got all this money and he was trying to reinvest it, as it were, and way overextended himself, and then people started pulling out, and he couldn't, much like the banking issue that happened just now, he couldn't. This is the problem. This is what happened in both cases, is that people, for whatever reason, want their money back, and in neither case they had the means to actually give them their money back, and then you have a collapse. So, but this guy was very, I think, nefarious in what he was doing. He's operating out of the Bahamas. I think he kind of thought he could do whatever he wanted. This is a new one. Now he's charged with paying bribe to China. So this guy just keeps getting in deeper and deeper and deeper, I think.
Well, okay, so I think you're kind of right. Well, I mean, some people will be aware of this more than we are, but the same. He's the CEO of this Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin is unregulated by the markets. So
okay, but it's not Bitcoin. It's a cryptocurrency, right?
It's not Bitcoin. It's cryptocurrency. It's like Bitcoin, right? There's multiple cryptocurrencies out there.
Yeah,
right?
so of which Bitcoin is one of them.
Yes, that's correct. It's not Bitcoin. Yeah. So his cryptocurrency, for clarity terms, there, he had 1.1 or 1.2 billion dollars worth of cryptocurrency in his, let's call it, fund, for whatever the case may be, And because cryptocurrency is not regulated by any sort of backed by any sort of government or banking systems, unlike the governments, you have these huge fluctuations up and down. And when it lost a bunch, this is the same sort of thing that Who Cares is talking about. People freaked out. He lost $1 billion in a day, right? So because he's not necessarily a businessman, there was some less than savory business practices that were going on. Apparently, he paid his parents millions of dollars as consultants or something like that. So his parents, with those millions of dollars, bought multiple houses, right? Hard assets in the Bahamas and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Lunatic, welcome in. Thank you for joining. We do our talk radio podcast from 12 until 1. So thank you, talkie. So this guy, what's that?
It is a talkie thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, I don't think he's this 40 million charge is stemming from what was happening before. I don't think this is new, because I don't think he has the money to bribe anyone.
No, but it's probably just been uncovered.
Yes, I agree with that.
Long time, sometime previously, but now that accountants are probably going through all the paperwork, suddenly someone's saying,
right. Yeah, forensic accountants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, what happens to this 40 million?
I think part of, I'm interested to why they're bribing Chinese assets, because China a couple of years ago kicked out all the cryptocurrency peoples, right? So there was 50 to 80 cryptocurrencies. It seems to be the number I read of people, like companies that left China and actually went to Texas. Texas has kind of like the Wild West. Actually, Lunatic, aren't you from Texas? I think you're from North Texas, aren't you? And part of the problem with doing that is because cryptocurrency needs a lot of electricity to generate power, right? A lot of electricity to run the complex.
That's if you're mining Bitcoin. If you're mining
that's
a different. Yeah,
mining crypto, you mean?
I don't know about other crypto. I do know that you mine Bitcoin. I don't know how other cryptocurrencies, if they do the similar type of thing that they call mining.
Yeah.
What you have is a mining operation, and
through computers. Yeah.
The significant ones have literally 100 computers. Are all doing this quote unquote mining. It's really a bad term, because you're not mining something, but it's a computer process. It's a calculation. You're doing a calculation. And it's kind of a race. The first one to solve the problem, as it were, is awarded a fraction of a Bitcoin. And so these miners set up large installations where literally they have 100 or 1,000 of these computers all doing the work. And so they are a massive draw on electricity when they're doing that. But again, that's something separate, I think, from what he's set up the cryptocurrency. They were initially calling him a crypto genius, which I didn't grasp either. But I think it seemed to me his downfall was the misuse and abuse of the financial funds and resources.
Well, that probably would have. It's fair to suggest that would have come out eventually. The downfall, as you said, more or less is because of the run-on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't get the run-on. He gets away with it, kind of deal. But
or for a much longer period of time, because you can't have abuse of other people's funds and expect to get away with it, unless you're a politician.
Yeah, really. You just figure at some point in time something's going to crack, and you're going to be discovered, and everything's going to fall apart on you. So, I mean, it could be just a matter of time before that inevitable happens. but I mean, maybe you think you're just too smart and you can uh, find a way around the problem. He certainly was scrambling in the last days, but it was crumbling faster on him than he could
Yeah.
recover from, so. But yeah, you're right. Like, why is he bribing China? Specifically like the Chinese government, or who? Why is he
Chinese officials. But
Chinese officials in? Yeah. So I mean, that's what I kind of meant when I said government. Chinese officials,
yeah.
and to what reason? But
He's charged with directing 40 million in bribes to one or more Chinese officials to unfreeze assets relating to his cryptocurrency business in a newly rewritten indictment unsealed Tuesday. The charge of conspiracy to violate the anti-bribery provisions of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act rises to 13, the number of charges Freeman faces after he was arrested in December and brought to the United States soon after. So my understanding is he willingly was working with. Like, he didn't try to evade. He was already there because that's where his business is. He wasn't evading the, he wasn't in the U.S. and then fled to Bahamas. He was already in the Bahamas. And
right.
When this started coming out, he actually went.
What you're saying is he's put a bunch of money, a couple of years ago, we'll say, into Chinese investments.
Yeah.
But then you're saying China kicked everybody out. And I'm guessing, and I literally am guessing here, is that they froze his assets along with other people's crypto's assets.
Yeah.
Right. And now that his world is crumbling around him, he needs access to those assets. They won't release them. So he tries bribing the officials, maybe. And again, I'm extrapolating here to try and get those funds released to bail them out of a bigger issue. So maybe that's
FTX
what's going on with it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that's, you're not far off. FTX filed for bankruptcy on November 11th when it ran out of money after the cryptocurrency equivalent of a bank run, which is what we just talked about, right? He has remained free on a $250 million personal reconnaissance bond that lets him stay with his parents in California. He's pled not guilty to charges that he cheated investors out of billions of dollars before his business collapsed. I think it's just 1 billion, but either way, it's semantics. He cheated investors out of billions of dollars. An arrangement on the rewritten indictment, communicating former founded limits to one laptop and phone and bans them from other cell phones, computers, or smart devices with internet. All right, so I guess you can only use 2 devices, right? And the reason to limit you to 2 devices is so that he can't start up another crypto business, right? That would make sense. The alleged bribes, and this is the heart of it, alleged bribes stemmed from the operation of, the indictment said Chinese law enforcement authorities in early 2021 froze certain Alameda cryptocurrency trading accounts on 2 of China's largest cryptocurrency exchanges. The accounts, it said, contained about 1 billion in cryptocurrency. Well, that could be one part of the billion he lost in a day. 24-hour period, he lost $1 billion. Understood that the account, Bankman-Fried understood that the accounts had been frozen by Chinese authorities as part of an ongoing probe of a particular Alameda trading counterparty. After Bankman-Fried tried several attempts over several months to unfreeze the accounts through the use of lawyers and lobbying, he ultimately agreed to direct a multi-million-dollar bribe to try to unfreeze the accounts. Here's the $40 million that we just talked about.
Right. Yeah.
Among the failed attempts, the indictment said, and others the indictment said Bankman-Fried and others he directed open new fraudulent accounts on the Chinese exchanges using personal identifying information of several individuals unaffiliated with FTMX or Alameda to try to evade freeze orders and move the cryptocurrency. So your shit's frozen and now you're just trying to weasel and get your stuff. Well, so those accounts are frozen. Let's just open another account and transfer some of those funds into this account and then we'll pull the money out.
Yeah.
Bribe payment is worth about $40 million. Was moved from Alameda's main trading account to a private cryptocurrency wallet, and the frozen accounts were unfrozen at about the same time. After Friedman received confirmation that the accounts were unfrozen, he authorized the transfer of an additional tens of millions of dollars in cryptocurrency to complete the bribe. Right? So that's what bribes are. This is getting worse for this young man. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, let's just say he's in a lot of trouble now.
Yeah. This is not something new. This is, as Who Cares said, this is stemming from things that occurred prior, and it's just coming to light as it were. So, well, good luck, buddy. It's called white crime.
White collar
crime, right? Because no one physically got hurt, but I'm pretty sure some people committed suicide and have severe mental health issues and whatnot because they lost everything to this guy. But that's not really here nor there, and that's tragic. Final thoughts?
Yeah, like I say, good luck to the guy. I mean, he's living a great life for a while, and
he's going to spend the rest of it in jail.
I don't know what kind of sentence he would get for something like that. Certainly, any assuming he's convicted of any and all of these crimes, all right, we're making an assumption here because he obviously hasn't gone to court yet. This hasn't been proven in a court or anything, but we'll make that assumption just for the moment that he is found guilty on most of, if not all of these charges. I don't know what kind of sentencing he would get. It would certainly include, I would imagine, he can't start up any kind of cryptocurrency or any kind of stock investment. I'm sure he'd be barred from all of that.
Usually,
going forward. So I mean, but I really wonder: is he going to get 60 years in jail, or is he going to get 6? Because it's a white collar crime, as you say. I mean,
American judiciary system is much different than what it is in Canada. In Canada, if you do something wrong and you end up going to court, the court system does 2 things at the same time. In the US, they split those 2 things separately. So O.J. Simpson was found innocent of killing the 2 people that were there, his wife and it's just his wife, right? Because they had Kaylin.
Yeah, killed the 2 of them, supposedly.
Yeah. So the criminal case, he was found innocent of that. But then it's a civil case that did him in. This will be the same sort of thing. This is a criminal case that he'll have done. They'll find out whatever it is, whatever ruling will come out. He'll be charged with all this stuff. He'll be found guilty on some of this stuff, and he'll have to serve this amount of time, whatever this amount of time is. But then there'll be a civil case after the criminal case for all of it. Like he'll be wiped out, and that's when he can't do all the stuff that you just talked about. There'll be 2 cases against this guy. Criminal for sure.
The criminal, they're doing the criminal, but then there'll be the civil.
Afterwards,
everybody is suing him to get their money back, essentially.
And they won't, because he doesn't have any money.
He doesn't, however little of it is left, whatever they can get in terms of assets. If China maybe eventually releases these funds, but they're going to be getting 10 cents on the dollar, kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
And going down the road, sure, any money that he accumulates will probably be garnered and distributed out, but I kind of find it hard to see that he'll spend the rest of his life in jail. But maybe, I don't know.
If it's a million people lost $10 million each, right? That would equate to the $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's one charge for each person, because each person would be applying against that. Now, cumulatively, they'll put all of those things together. They're not going to try 1 million cases, right? So they just say, okay, your portion here is 1 hour for every $10 you stole from these guys, and they'll add it all together. Something to that effect. So, I mean, each charge will be, I don't know, let's say a year. The guy can't serve a million years, right? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what.
We'll wait. Yeah, we'll wait and see for sure.
With it, but so.
Who changes COVID vaccine requirements? HelloFresh. Ooh, we got an ad for these guys. We got to go take a look at this after.
Mm-hmm.
We've been asked to sponsor, have these guys as a sponsor. I don't know because I haven't looked at it yet. Okay, what's this one? This is on me, I think. When will Coronado debut? Flame Sutter wants top prospect to just ease into it. Well, I don't know who this guy is. Never heard of him. But he's probably on the farm team.
I would
I'm
see
guessing.
reasonable.
But he is wearing a Calgary Flames symboled hat, so maybe he's not. Calgary Flames prospect Matt Coronado during the annual prospect development camp at 7 Chief Sportsplex south of Calgary on Tutsina Nation, July 12th of last year. Obviously a prospect, obviously coming into it. We're looking at the rebuild, I guess, for next season. But Sutter's probably not putting too much effort into it because he's focusing on finishing off this season.
Right.
Mathematically, we Calgary Flames are not eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs, but it's going to be extremely difficult. We have another game today. We're playing the LA Kings tonight. It's going to be difficult. I think we need to win probably 5 of 8 or 6 of 8 to make the playoffs. Just the way the timing goes, you have to win enough to make up the difference, and then you have to assume that you split the remaining games.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right now, I believe we're now 5 points behind, so we have to win the next 3, which means the other team has to lose the next 3, and that leaves 5 games left. And so we have to win 3 of those 5, and they have to lose. So we have to win 6 of the next 8 games.
Going to be tough. Yeah.
Going to be tough. Calgary Flames can't wait to watch this guy. Sounds like Coronado, highly touted and now freshly signed, will be doing some watching first. Harley is a surprise, especially with the Flames still scratching for points in the wild card race, which is what we just talked about. Daryl Sutter is stressing the importance of allowing the 20-year-old forward prospect to just ease into it. Well, Sutter kind of did that with Pelche as well, right?
Okay.
I've got 4 tickets to the Calgary Wranglers versus the Silver Knights this Wednesday, which is the junior team. So Pelche was on there. I'm fairly sure that Vladar is going to get traded. He's the backup coach. He's going to be traded this offseason, unfortunately.
Backup coach?
Backup goalie.
Okay. Like, what?
Did I say coach?
You did, yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Backup coach?
Yeah. Well, we do have a couple of those. They're called assistant coaches, but
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
I know. Backup coach.
so I'm pretty sure Vladar will be traded, and Wolf, who plays for the Wranglers, will be called up. So Wolf plays well, and we've seen this several of these guys, right? Dennis Gilbert also plays for the Wranglers. Played for the Wranglers before he gets called up. It's great hockey. I highly recommend it, and it's super cheap to go see these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Coronado will be making the rounds Tuesday at the Saddle, introducing himself to his new teammates before lacing him up for the morning skate. This will be his first strides as a pro hockey player. Heck, I've probably had a longer visit with his dad than I had with Matt himself, Sutter said after Monday's practice. And I'm not shocked or surprised about that. Getting to know him getting to know us, getting used to it. Within minutes, even seconds, Sunday's announcement that Coronado was forgoing his final 2 seasons with the NCAA Harvard Crimson and had inked a contract with the Flames. So kudos to Johnny Gaudreau, who went to Boston College for school and hockey when he was signed into the NHL. He played for the NHL, forgoes his post-secondary education. But Gaudreau plugged away at it and got his university degree while he was here in Flames, while he was with the Calgary Flames.
Okay.
We hope that this guy, even though he's halfway through his university career, continues to finish his studies and gets his university degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll obviously take longer because you cannot go to university full time and play at this high level
Hmm.
professionally. So, but he can take one class at a time. I mean, I did,
Yeah. Yeah.
and clearly Johnny Gaudreau did as well. So, he's given up his last 2 years of university studies to play professionally. It's tough not to do that, by the way.
He
I think
can
that-
always go back as well. I mean,
Yeah, but you can't with your athletic career. You
Right.
can only play so long, then you have to stop.
So, I mean, if something goes wrong with his career, I mean, yes, he'll have made some money, and if he's smart with it, he didn't blow it all. But he could still always just go back after the fact and
Yeah.
finish off his degree. So.
Well, another guy I think that did that much after the fact is Kelly Rudy. Right? Apparently, Kelly Rudy played for the Medicine Hat Tigers 100 years ago, and went on to backstop for the LA Kings in the 80s, where he won a Stanley Cup or two, and now he's an announcer for Sportsnet.
Yeah.
Coronado, rising star. He's the first round selection in the 2021 NHL draft. Arguably the only pure sniper in Calgary's prospect pipeline. That's interesting. Rising right winger has filled the score sheet at every other level, combined for. When Sutter asked about gauging, he's probably not ready. There's a difference if you're a senior. Think about it. He's a sophomore in school. It gives him a jump start in a season coming. And that's what it does. Yeah, he's still growing into his body.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well,
I remember in my sport, there was a high school athlete. He was a stud. This high school athlete, in high school, won national championships and things of that nature. He came into our room, and we just pummeled him, and he wanted to quit at the end of the year. And the coach had to go talk to him and says, "It's because you're a boy wrestling men. Just give it another year. You're growing into your own. You're getting bigger. You're getting stronger. Just stick with it. You will see the benefit of doing it. Just don't quit just yet." And he needed, and he's a young man, right? He was 17 years old or whatever, something like that. He needed that propping up and a little bit of coddling. And sure enough, he did. He won a national championship at the university level. He was good. He just needed a little bit of hump. This is the same sort of thing, right? This young Coronado guy is 20 years old, so he's in there, but he's still growing and developing. Probably another 3 years before he gets to the top there, but hopefully he'll make it before then. Keep playing, terrific talent. Traveling, he'll probably be gone as well. Daryl Sutter, I don't think will be gone. And here's what it is. Sutter takes a lot of heat for his slow-go approach with rookies. Remember that Jacob Pelche was scratched for 6 straight after being summoned from the minors in January. That's exactly what I just said, right? Pelche is slow. Limited to one live viewing. He characterized competitive, skilled player. He's just praising about this guy. Good luck. Good luck to the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So hope he has a successful career, and hope what they're doing, if easing him into it is the right thing. I hope it works for him. So, and he's got to hopefully understand, that they don't want to put too much weight on his shoulders too fast.
Right.
So, because that can collapse a player or a person. So,
who cares? What do you think about last comments on our sponsor here?
As usual, Yuck Yucks Calgary is our sponsor. I am affiliated with Yuck Yucks. And what I'll do for you is, if you leave a comment that you would like to come see a show, and again, I have to stress here, this is at the Calgary Club only. Leave a comment you'd like to come see a show. I'll hook up with you and connect you up. We'll get you some tickets, and you can come see a comedy show. It's a great night out, lots of fun. Usually 3 comedians. You usually find at least 2 of them funny. Maybe one you're not so keen on if you don't find all 3 funny. But it's a good time out. You come out, you have some wings, have something to drink, and enjoy yourself. Yeah, so leave a note here either on Twitch. Noob will be uploading this to YouTube. So if you happen to see this on YouTube, then leave a message there. And like again, I'll hook you up with some tickets. Come check out a show.
Excellent. Down below is somewhere like right here, I think. There's two social medias. One is my Instagram. It's food that I've cooked. Who cares? Was asking when I cooked the burger, you made that? So, and then the other one is that there's that YouTube channel. As Who Cares said, leave a comment if you're coming into Calgary or in Calgary. We'll try to work our best to get you out to Yuk Yuk's there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Either way, we want to say thank you guys. And